I'm sure there are people who don't have fathers in their life. I'm sure there are mothers out there whose their child's father has decided to walk off, or things haven't quite worked out between you. And this episode, we're gonna dive into, I suppose, a live example.
If you were to see your dad today, what are some of the questions that you would ask him?
Boy, probably like the 5 W's: who, what, why, when. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's do you know what I mean? Like, just why? Like, what? You know.
Welcome to another episode of Dads Divulge. We've got a very, very special guest in the building today. You know, my bro-in-law, fitness coach.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
someone I've had a real pleasure to watch grow up, you know, into the man he is today. And also someone who sets the standards for, you know, how young men should be in this day and age, for real. Absolutely. And definitely a real role model, you know, and inspiration to his peers. Nose, how's it going, bro?
I'm alright, man. Can't complain. You know, it's working 5 days a week. It's not the one, but
you see the intro I gave you, bro.
Yeah, big intro. Look at his smile. Look at his smile. Look at his smile.
I guess I was like, oh man. Trying to keep it humble though, man.
Real ratings, man. Real ratings. Stu, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm all good, brother. I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Yeah, welcome to another episode, guys. This episode is, can a man be forgiven for not being around? So quite a controversial one this week. However, it's something that needs to be spoken about. I'm sure there are people who don't have fathers in their life. I'm sure there are mothers out there whose their child's father has decided to walk off, or things haven't quite worked out between you. And this episode, we're gonna dive into, I suppose, a live example. We've got Noah here to kind of share his experiences through his life, and yeah, we're gonna take it away from there. So Noah,
yes, sir.
Give us a bit of a background about yourself for those who don't know you. And, take it from there.
Yeah, so in regards to that topic, I just grew up with my mum and my sister, but parent-wise, it was just my mum. It's always been her. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I grew up with a lot of kind of like role models and stuff like that, people that were in my life that I can look up to. But yeah, no, just my mum. She's just been everything. Like, it's been mum, dad, uncle, and everyone, innit? Really. So
yeah. So it's been more or less a village. That's really
100%. Yeah, they say it takes a village anyway. So, you know, it's like, you know, with the amount of help that I've got, or my mum's got, or the guidance that people have given me, yeah, it's wholesome. It's wholesome. It's good.
Yeah, no, obviously you're definitely at a good place now. I can definitely say that hands on, because we know each other differently.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's take it back to when you were young. And
okay.
Was there a time where you realized that your family dynamics was different to maybe others?
Yeah, 100%.
I remember age.
Like, I would say, probably like, I remember a time specifically, it was year 3, yeah. And I remember it was Father's Day. And everyone's writing cards for their dad. Obviously, I knew I didn't have one, innit? So it was a case where I couldn't really write about someone that wasn't there. So I always used to write about like my uncles, or I don't know, like a particular kind of friend in my mum's life that like I looked up to. So it was always stuff like that, and it never really dawned on me. Like, it's just because he was never there. I just never really thought about it like that. But I knew like my family dynamic was different, especially like even as I got older. So like, call it secondary school now, maybe like year 7, year 8. You know, when you ask your mum for money and she says no, and she's like, oh, go ask your dad, innit? But if she says no, it's no, innit? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I can do about it. You're not going where you thought you was going. You're staying at home. Like, or there's food at home, there's rice at home. Them one's there. You know what I mean? So it was that kind of like dynamic. I just knew like, yeah, it's different from everyone else's. Like, yeah, like school especially, like I kind of felt it. Like, you know, you're like, oh, I'm going to football with my dad. Like, I'm like, yeah, cool. Do you know what I mean? I can't do that. I can't say I'm going.
And how did that make you feel? Did that make you feel a way? Like, did it make you feel any kind of way?
I think, do you know what? Jealousy it's powerful, you know? Because I actually, you know, you feel it, you're like, shit, like, that's mad. Like, I envy you guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, going football with my dad, yeah, he's taking me here. You know what I mean? Like, not to say I can't do it with my mum, but you're less likely to do it with your mum than you are with your dad. So
yeah, of course.
It's a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, I envied a lot of people. Yeah, and it's mad. Like, when I was in year 2, I remember I used to play for Brunswick Football Club in like Fulham. And my friend Louis was like one of my best friends. Like, his mum and dad was like together, and I got into football because of his dad. And his dad used to take him every single week. So he said, oh yeah, just come along. Like, even stuff like that, it kind of, the jealousy kind of disappeared, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, someone actually cares. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess, like I was saying before, that's just mad wholesome. Like you said, it takes a village. So yeah, that was, yeah.
Did you ever feel like it was a void? At what point have you ever felt like it has been a void in your life? And if it has, at what stage? So, you talked about in school writing Father's Day cards and so on.
Yeah.
But what point do you feel like actually there's something missing? If it felt like that.
Do you know what? It's mad shit. I didn't really feel like that until like the other week. Like, I swear to God, like it's even before I knew the topic of this podcast or whatever. Like, it just so happened that I was talking about my dad a lot more frequently with other family members. So it was kind of like, no, maybe there is like something missing. Maybe there are questions I want to ask. Maybe this, maybe that. But literally, up until a few weeks ago, it wouldn't have mattered. I didn't feel like there was a void because there were so many people that were in my life that gave me guidance or I went to for help. So I was just didn't really seem like a void. It just seemed like, all right, he's not there. That's it. Like, it's done. And up until 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh, like, I've got a lot of questions to ask. Yeah, it didn't really feel that much.
You say you got a lot of questions to ask. If you were to see your dad today, what are some of the questions that you would ask him?
Boy, probably like the 5 W's: who, what, why, when. Like, do you know what I mean? That's you know what I mean? Like, just why? Like, what? Just why? Pretty much. Just tell me. I want to hear your side of the story. That's what I'd say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's all well and go on. Sorry.
No. You continue.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's all well and good, like hearing it from obviously the people that are in my life's perspective of what happened or why he's not there. But I would really much like to hear it from him.
Do you feel like anything he says will be satisfactory to you though, in terms of what his reasons are? Because like you said, you've heard everyone else's side of the coin.
And yeah, I think that's a good question. And if so, what reasons as well could you think of? Because there must have been times where you sat there and thought to yourself, is it because of this? Is it because of that? He might be around because of it. There might be a justifiable reason that he might not be around in your head. Not,
I don't even know, but you rack answers in your brain, you're just like, probably none of the answers that he could give probably justify it. Like, just to see me, like, you don't even have to be in my life, but just to say hello, like, do you know what I mean? Like, just something like that. It doesn't take a lot to do that. Just to say, oh, hi, I'm your dad. Yeah, I'm not around, but just want you to know I am alive. I am here. This is why I'm not here. That's all it would take. And I would have been like, all right, like, cool. I might not have understood, say, if you had told me at a young age, but I mean, you can kind of be like, all right, cool. Like, at least he said something. Like, to just say nothing or, and just not be there at all. That's a bit mad when you ask me, if you ask me to.
And just for context, have you seen him before?
Never seen him.
Never seen him.
Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never spoken to him.
That's crazy.
Never spoken to him. Yeah. Apparently, I walked past him in the street and he didn't know me. Crazy. I didn't know him. So that's that's some crazy.
That's wild in my eyes, man.
Yeah.
That's wild in my eyes. I mean, I really, even leading up to the show today, I was trying to think what could be the reasons, because you try to give a balanced argument for and against, and if you're thinking what could be the reasons why someone could justify not, as you said, not even just saying hello. You know what I'm saying? Not even just saying hi, I'm your dad, I'm here. You might hear from me once a month. Don't expect anything from me. Don't expect me to be paying for college for you or anything like that, but I'm just here. So you know my face. Like,
something.
For me, that's just standard.
Yeah.
For me, that's standard.
And it feels so far away from, I suppose, our reality, Ryan. We live with our kids and our partners, So the concept of it is so far removed, and that's why we wanted to really speak about it, because we want to make sure the reason behind this podcast is to kind of cover all bases of the fatherhood journey, and we felt like it's something that we couldn't really speak about we wanted to really see what it was like,
No, you're right. You're right. And as I said, it baffles me. And, I think sometimes dads struggle to understand we're all going through it. Do you see what I'm saying? We're all, like, as parents, especially, I feel we're all wigging it. I feel there's no perfect parent. Even like for me as a father who lives with my kids from the outside, I know people commend me and say what a good job I'm doing. And I think I am doing a good job. And that's partly due to my missus as well. We both work together to raise our kids. You know what I'm saying? There's some days, I think there's a difference between being present and being there. And some days I'm not present. Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not present sometimes. I'm just here. And I might be in my own little zone, but I'm not really engaging. And that happens time to time. And I think it's okay for dads to know that it's okay to not be on form all the time. But I think the least you could give your child is just a face, to put a name to a face, like that alone.
In my case, a name to a face. Like, I know his name.
I think that's
what he looks like, God knows.
Yeah. And and the sad thing is, I feel like it shouldn't come to, a funeral or a night in the like Caribbean community where people are then realizing what kids are out there and whose son is who and who's actually the dad. And I think that's the wrong time to really then be discovering whose family, and it's not the right thing.
But to be fair, it's always the nights though. That's just been happening for years.
Always.
It's a normal thing. That's your cousin from way back. I've known you since you were this small. Like, I don't know who this is. Like, do you know what I mean?
Always some kind of scandal, isn't it?
Them random ones, Scandal.
It's a scandal, It's just
always. Literally,
I'm telling you.
And it's funny because I think it might be something with the Caribbean. I'm from the Caribbean myself, but it's funny like how some Caribbean people, first generations look at certain things. And even when I go to the barbershop sometimes, it's like the barbers they're shocked that I've got 4 kids with one woman. And I'm like, okay, so how many kids have you got? And man, me have 10 kids, man. And I say, how many baby mothers you got? Oh, I've got 5. I've got 4. And I'm looking at them like, so crazy. you think it's funny that I've got 4 kids with one woman, but you've got 10 spread across 4 of them. It's a different mentality.
And 1 in 3 have an STI, so that's mad. I mean, like you're putting yourself at risk for no reason.
Exactly.
We talked about questions you would ask, but do you feel like you'd be in a position to reconcile with him? So actually, let's go a step further. So let's say you had the conversation, maybe more than one.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you would be able to reconcile with him and then actually continue the relationship, even if it is at a distance and just texts and phone calls here and there? That's hard question to ask because you haven't done the first step, right? But,
I mean, let's just say everything was to go kind of smoothly, rough, actually maybe not use that word, maybe like okay-ish in the first meeting or like first conversation we had. Might have a second, maybe a third, and we'll see how we go, but reconcile, I don't know, man. I don't know. It would take a lot for me to say.
He would have to give you a good reason, or he would have to come with a bag of money or something like that. Like a big bag of money to make up all these.
First, show
me the money. Trust me.
Because
it
would have to be. It would have to be something substantial for me to like even give him the time of day. Not even just to like text or whatever. Just literally just to say, all right, cool. Maybe we can chat on a level or something like that. But if he's not coming with anything like, I don't know, anything big to show me.
He has to come with the right energy, I think. You know what I'm saying? I think there's always room for forgiveness. And obviously that forgiveness, that can't be anyone else's decision but yours because you're old enough now to make your own decisions. Yeah. But I think there's always room for forgiveness. But he has to come with the right energy. I don't think he could come into your life thinking, I'm your dad. What are you talking about? Like, don't ask me no questions kind of thing.
You can come with a
certain energy that doesn't show that you're kind of remorseful for what you've done. kind of thing.
No, 100%.
I think if someone comes with the right energy and, you know, as I said, I'm struggling to find a reason, to be honest with you. I'm really struggling to find a reason. But I feel if he does come with a reason that's good enough for you, then obviously there can be forgiveness to some sense. I don't think it could ever get to the stage where it will be like, oh, we're happy families and we're hugging and we're all lovey-dovey. It might never be that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you could.
I don't see that happening, like, where it's a happy family thing. But, you know, talking on a level, like, I could maybe see that happen. Like I said, if he comes with some substantial information that would change, like, the way I feel, then definitely, I don't see why not.
I wonder if it becomes a daunting task, though, for those fathers who have been absent. You know, I reckon maybe, you know, because you got to realize, I reckon there's got to be a certain percentage of men who walk out because of a relationship issue, and not because they're ready to be a father. You know, there's some men out there who've said from the get-go, you know, they're not interested in being a father to a certain child, and that's their reasons for going. But we should also recognise that actually some men's reasons maybe to do with a breakdown of a relationship.
100%. Some men's reasons, you know, it's out of their hands. And to be clear, I think in this podcast we're talking about your specific situation, which is someone who, you know, hasn't had any resistance from your mum or anything like that from what I can see, and you know, still hasn't reached out to say, well, I wanna make I wanna make some effort towards being in your life all these years, you know. And you know, I'm fully aware people go through stuff. I think mental health is a real thing. I think what you touched on as well, Stu, is that I think as time goes by, it gets harder. It gets harder and harder and harder.
Definitely.
The thing is, I don't know your dad. I've seen a picture of him maybe, but I feel like he must have thought at some stage
something.
Let me reach out. But something is holding him back. Something that maybe the reaction he fears he's going to get from you, maybe from your mom, maybe from your aunt, whatever, is holding him back from.
I think it's definitely my aunts though. 100%.
Yeah, your aunts are on full-time smoke. Full-time smoke.
Full smoke and the rest. I think definitely not. I think you're right. I think definitely something's holding him back. It has to be. I don't see. It's definitely not me. Do you know what I mean? Not unless you see me in the gym or something like that. Bro, I don't know. Like, it's definitely
honestly, this is no cap. Like, I've always said to you, I feel like it's your dad's L. That's 100 because I've said it to a few people as well. Like, I'm looking at my sons and I'm thinking, Rod, you know what? If I have a son, the closest person I can see that I want my son to be like at a certain age is Noah. You see what I'm saying? The closest person. You definitely set an example for a lot of people. And it's crazy because it just goes to show how much of a good job that your mum has done, because you do not fit the stereotypical description of a child with no dad around. You don't fit it. Anyone who would see you or interacts with you would think, that boy's dad must be on this thing. You know what's there? Because you don't fit that at all. And that speaks to, you know, not just your mum, your aunts, your cousins, your sister, like all of the people who have helped put into you. It speaks a lot. 100%.
No, definitely.
The village.
The village, man.
I commend them. I commend like everyone else that helped me. Like when I do make my money eventually, and you know I'm successful in what I want to do. Like you can't forget those people that.
Don't forget about me, bro. I know I didn't put my name in there. I didn't put my name in there, but bro, come on.
You already, like listen, like you know what I mean. People that know, you already know what it is. Like, I commend those people, and you know it gets to a point where like it's their guidance is so like built into my head where it's just like I know. Like, if I'm even thinking about doing something wrong or doing something out of order, it's like shit. Like, what would that person say? No, just like, do you know what I mean? Don't do it. But it's also because like I love my life too much. Like the typical like kind of person that doesn't have a dad, like, you know, you could say they end up in prison or join a gang or anything like that. I just like my life too much. Like I don't want to like. There's so much to see. Like, do you know what I mean? There's so much to see that I haven't seen already. Like talking about like even my nephews growing up or my niece, like just seeing them grow. I don't want to be that guy that's like in jail or ends up dead because I didn't listen when, do you know what I mean, people were talking to me. Do you know what I mean? People that wanted to guide me in the right direction. And I said, nah, it's all right. I'll do something else, man. I love life too much, man. Do you know what I mean? To even,
but you know what, like,
go down that path.
let me give you some stats here, just to show you how much of an anomaly you are, kind of thing. Yeah, because it says here that children who feel a closeness to their father are twice as likely as those who do not enter college or find stable employment after high school. 75% less likely to have teen birth, 80% less likely to spend time in jail, and half as likely to experience multiple depression symptoms. So 85% of youth in prison have an absent father. 85%.
High number.
90% of runaway children have an absent father. Yeah,
It's nuts, man.
it's mad. It's crazy. You
that's
can
mad.
go on. You could go on.
You know,
with it.
that stat, you know, if you think about a lot of the time, we look at, when we talk about women now or girls, we talk about some girls who have daddy issues. You know, their dad's not around, and therefore this is how they act.
Yeah.
We don't at all really speak about how men act. You know, or boys who are turning into men who, however you want to classify it,
Yeah.
when their dad is not around, and it's a huge impact. It's a huge impact.
But you know
Massive
what it is,
impact.
though? Do you know what it is? Like, I don't think men, we actually take it in and understand how much of an impact it is. And I think the reason is because black women and women in general actually, have made it look so effortlessly easy nowadays to raise children. Yeah. I think men, to some extent, see it as a normality. Like, it's just a, you know, they'll get on with it. All else fails, they'll get on with it, and the child will be okay. But there's two parents for a reason. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as I said, Noah, you're the exception. But for the majority of boys growing up your age, and you see it, without a father figure, it has a major impact on them.
Yeah,
and I don't think we can just rely on, the women have got it. They'll handle it. You see what I'm saying? Because it even comes down to a point where even some women are feeling like they don't even need men no more.
I was literally about to go there. Before you said that, I was literally about to go there. You know, but I wonder if that's also got part to play. Because if you've got, you know, you hear women saying it, that they don't need a man. You know, they don't need a dad. They can double up. Yeah, doubling up in terms of functional tasks. You can double up in terms of cooking and cleaning, and you can double up in terms of dropping to football practice, and you can double up in terms of doing actual tasks. But in terms of emotionally, what you can do for a child, that can only come from a man. You know, the same way you've got the kind of motherly love that we just can't replicate because we're not women, we're not mums. There's also a fatherly love that all children need. You know, and I think those who have received it understand it, and those who haven't had it, they have it in another form, like you said, Noah. You know, in the form of uncles, close male relatives, and so on. You know, it's really important. It's really important to look at it from that angle as well.
But it's like the saying, "What a man can only teach a boy how to be a man." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. That just doesn't work. Like, I was even talking to like one of my friends, and she put it like, how do you so you know when you go to advice, like to go to get advice from like your mum or something, or anybody, like do you often go to your mum, or like who do you go to? So I always say like there's certain things I won't go to my mum to about, like especially with the opposite sex as well. Like, I mean, it's good in a way because like obviously she'll just give me a woman's perspective.
Yeah.
So I'll know, okay, cool, maybe that's what this girl's thinking, or that's what you know. This is the kind of direction she's going in, but like there's just certain things, you know, you just can't go to your mum about that. You got to get a man's perspective on it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So a lot of things, of course, and a lot of things, especially with the opposite sex, like I've had to learn kind of the hard way, innit? Do you know what I mean? I mean, you make a lot of mistakes and you're like, okay, we're not doing that again. Like, do you know what I mean? So
do you care to divulge? No, do you care to divulge?
I feel we'll leave that one for the next episode.
No comment interview. That's all good.
But just stuff like that, man. Just had to learn the hard way, and you know, go to.
Touching on you learning lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
Say you've got a friend who So I'll say there's a young man watching this who hasn't got a father in his life, who hasn't got the family dynamics that you've got, and is lucky enough to have the, you know, the people surrounding him. What would your advice be to him? Like, to, you know, to get through, what's the mindset do you feel you need to have to not have, because you have to do something. You can't just curl into a corner and not live your life because your dad's not around. You have to try and live to the best of your ability. So how do you cope with it, and what's your mindset?
I think, you know what it is, having good friends around you, man. Seriously, like, not even just to talk about the situation that you don't have a dad, but just like to kind of get on with other things.
Yeah, friends are
like,
important.
Yeah, like just knowing who your friends are. Also finding something that you're really good at and stick to it, or something that you enjoy. It's like, I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy playing football. I enjoy sports in general. So these are things I'm always going to do. Like when, I don't know, like sometimes I'm alone with my own thoughts and I'm like, all right, cool, I don't really want to think about that right now. Let me do something. Let's go gym. Do you know what I mean? Let's just, you know, just try and like, pick something that to do that kind of, I don't know, it's as a stress reliever. Do you know what I mean? Also, I'll say, don't let the absence of your dad get in the way of what you want to do in life. You seriously got to push through. Like, if you're thinking you can't do it because he's not there or whatever, that's bullshit, man. Just, do you know what I mean? Just, you got to focus your mind. You got to beat the statistics as well. Like, you just heard the statistics. 80% of people, 85% of people in jail. 85% of people, men in jail, don't have their dads. You know, don't be one of them statistics. You know what I mean? Like, you got to pick something, stick to it, get help along the way, ask for help as well from other people. Don't just rely on like one person. Like, as we've been saying, the whole podcast, it takes a village. So, do you know what I mean? Ask for help, and you know what I mean? You can get to where you're going. So that's I think
that's a good point. Asking for help. Yeah. And it may seem like, you know, we've all grown up, come from certain backgrounds and whatever. We all understand certain things, and sometimes if you don't have a dad role model in your life, you feel like there's no one else you can talk to. But there are people around. Do you know what I'm saying? There's online services that people can use to talk to people. Like, there are people, male figures out there that they might not be blood. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's better to get the right advice from somebody, of course, you know, the right person. That's the best way to go about it, I think.
And I just point out as well, it's actually Mental Health Week this week as well. So, you know, if you feel like you're bottling something up and you want to talk about it, especially obviously the topic we're on, just talk about it. That's it. You don't want to be a statistic. So just talk, innit?
Do you feel like, if we now move into probably a bit more of a private side of your life, if anything. Yeah. So do you feel like, looking further into life, do you feel like the absence of your father may impact your relationship with women? And how you deal with women? Because if I look at it from a certain way, some men have been taught how to respect women in a certain way and to deal with women in a certain way. But you've rightly said that actually I've had a different type of upbringing, which is, you know, it's not uncommon. There are loads out there who haven't had their involvement from the father. But I do wonder what the impact is when it comes to them having relationships and then going on to fatherhood. Do you, not that you can identify it right now, but do you feel like there could be something that's lurking?
I think from like my past experiences, I've had girlfriends. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would say like, I'm at an advantage in the sense that because I grew up around a lot of women, you kind of know what buttons to push and not what to push, innit? In that sense, like, you know what I mean? Like, you pick your battles, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like the first argument I have with your childhood sweetheart or whatever, like, like sometimes it's just not worth it, innit? It's just not worth the argument. So I'll say I'm a pretty much laid back guy anyways, and I just like, it will take a lot to get me angry or like a lot to piss me off. So it's one of the ones where if she's annoyed about something that I think, okay, maybe it's just a conversation kind of thing, we don't actually need to shout, and I'll do that. So I'll say I'm at an advantage with that. But I'll say in other areas, like, I don't even know what I can say. Like, it's just, I know that in past relationships, like, there's certain things I should have done which I didn't, and I just like, I'm thinking, why didn't I do that?
Well, and maybe it's not an absence.
Yeah, like, I'm even trying to think, like, because I'm at top of my head, I can't think, but you know, when you've had some arguments, you're like, oh shit, I should have said that, innit?
Always.
We've been there.
Up until this age, bro. Trust me, I think that that just happens.
Literally, like, I'm trying to think of some examples, man. I can't think of the top of my head, but I know there's definitely some things that I wish I had the guidance of, like, kind of a male role model to say, like, listen, bro, like, don't say shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? You're gonna get yourself in trouble here, like, you know what I mean? So, I think I've had that kind of guidance just to, not what to say, but how to approach certain situations a bit better than I did. Like, you know, I think, my success rate would be a bit higher. We
gotta leave that in. We gotta leave that in.
I just fucked myself up, man. You might need to edit that out.
It's mad for you, bro. That's staying in, bro. That's gonna be the hook.
Absolutely, man.
Literally. It's something along those lines, like, of not saying the right things at the right time, doing stupid shit, do you know what I mean? And just,
What do you say as well, You know, there's always, I believe there's always a silver lining in it. Every cloud has a silver lining, as they say. What do you say you can identify the benefits, maybe, of not having your dad around? Especially, like, have you heard kind of what your dad is like as a person from other people? And would you say that you maybe have benefited from him not being around? Because I know we say, you know, the dad should at least be there and he should show his face, but what about a dad that hasn't got anything to offer at all? Do you know?
Do you know what? What I've heard from, like, my family members and that, he was just a compulsive liar, innit? Put it that way. So nothing he says, like, my mom always says, listen, don't be like your dad. Do you know what I mean? She always, like, as I've grown up, as I've known her, she's always said that, do not be like your father. Do you know what I mean? He was a compulsive liar. He didn't do things the right way. He's always sneaking things. Don't be like your dad. And it's like, him not being there, like, you know, when you do things that you're not meant to do, and you're like, do you know what I mean? It's easier to kind of get away with, and you're thinking, shit, like, I'm slowly turning into that, and you're just like, all right, cool, let me just back up. I think it's not a benefit, but I say you kind of get away with things that you shouldn't get away with. Like, you know, when you have both parents in the house, like, you're like, shit, that was a close call. You know what I mean? Like,
when my mum and dad divorced, I was living my best life as a teenager. I won't lie. And, you know, I'll be honest.
Do you already know what I'm talking about? Like, just shit like that.
It's, you know, I'm not pushing it out there like, everyone push your family to your mum and dad to get divorced so you can have freedom. But I was just at an age where I was dealing with a lot of stuff as a teenager. Yeah. My mum and dad divorced, and I was just happy for the freedom. Because when you got two parents in the house, it's like two feds in the house, bro. You know what I'm saying? Two feds in the house that are on you and monitoring you all the time. And they're bouncing ideas off each other of how they can lock you down even more, especially as the oldest. You know what I'm saying? So when they did split up, I was more or less like, oh, I can actually flex a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So
the thing with that is, I think you can, I mean, it's not good, but obviously you realizing it kind of later on in life. Me, I knew that not from the off, but I got it at an age where it was like, it was just prime time, just carnage. Like, you know what?
I always say to my parents, like, don't worry about me. I got the best years out of you. I say that because I think they properly split, or my mum left the house when I was 17 or something. And by that time, you know, they say by the time you're 9, 10, you're already molded into who you're going to be as an adult. So by that time, I think I already got the benefits of growing up in a household with my mum and dad. And after that, I knew that, you know, my dad was always going to be around. My mum was always going to be around. It's not like, you know, they were moving to different countries and I wouldn't speak to them again. But I think I had that benefit of just having them there in the house. And when I got to that age that teenager age, when I felt like, you know, I wanted to step out, it didn't really bother me too much because I was concerned with a whole load of other stuff kind of thing.
No, it was just similar, but I was, the time I like kind of discovered, oh shit, like, I can get away with certain things. Like, I was so young in it, like in terms of like I was like 14, 15, just doing a madness. Like obviously I knew my mum came home at a certain time, so from between those times that I finished school and then she got home, like, do you know what I mean? It was just stuff like that. I knew I could just kind of.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When you got two parents in the house,
that's what I'm saying. It's
very different.
It's very,
and I think
I
think that's why you see some of those stats the way they are, because a mum can only do so much by herself. A dad can only do so much by himself. Like, there's only so much you can do as one parent. And sometimes, like, as I said, your mum's done an amazing job with you, but sometimes by the time, as a parent now, by the time you take your kids to school, you go to work yourself, you come home, you make the dinner for them, you bathe them, you send them to school, and you do that 5 days through the week, and then the weekend, you're just trying to catch up, really. Like, there's no time to actually give them proper time. Yeah.
It's a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all, man. Sometimes my kids can certainly show us who's boss at times. Definitely. Like you said, once you've gone through that whole week of everything going on, the energy just saps from you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why when you think about those mothers who do it alone, you've got to take your hats off to them.
100%.
Because you've got to think sometimes it's hard with just two of us here, you know, let alone just one parent looking after one, if not more than one child.
And it's mad because I was like, there was times that I know I've definitely stressed out my mum, 100%, no doubt. Like, and like I was saying,
we all have.
Everyone has, and it's mad. Like, and I'm just one child. Do you know what I mean? And my sister's 12 years older than me. So obviously when she had me, it was actually starting again. So technically, I'm not an only child, but I'm an only child. You know, do you know what I mean? In that kind of sense. So it was a case where when I did stress her out, like, that's just me. So imagine she had more kids. Exactly. And it was just that I had like younger brothers that were like maybe 2 years apart or 1 year apart. It was carnage already. So with like more kids, like, it just makes it even worse. And
I think as a single parent, you must feel like the buck stops with you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can't moan and complain about the dad not being there after a certain time. You just have to get on with it. And you feel like those days that are stressing you out, you must just feel like there's only so much I can do because I need someone to speak to him. That's not me. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not me. That is a man. A man needs to speak to him. Like, a man needs to get through to him. I can't. And sometimes the uncles can speak to you. The bigger cousins can come around and speak to you. But there's nothing like your own dad having a word with you.
Yeah, having a one-on-one.
Yeah, having a one-on-one.
And that gets missed. And that's why, for me, I do, you know, going back to can a man be forgiven for it? I feel like there's so much input that you can have. How can you choose not to? But like I said, there must be a multitude of different reasons why it doesn't happen. But just like I said, the one-on-one time, showing you how to, I don't know, little small things like showing you how to do a tie, showing you how to like shave for certain guys, you know, little things like that. There's all these little things, and I think that's where I think we're having a lack of men. Must come from a lack of fathers as well. You know, we do hear the women sometimes complain, you know, about men not being man enough and all this type of thing. But
that's really, that's where man enough starts.
Yeah,
that's where man enough starts. I'll be honest with you, like,
absolutely.
If any man is walking around with his chest puffed up saying, "I'm a man, I'm a big man," and you've got kids out there that haven't seen you, or don't know your face, or could walk past you in the street, I'm struggling to see how you call yourself a man. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, shout out to definitely all the dads that are just there to start with anyway. You know what I'm saying? Man. You know, listen, as a man, we all can do more, but shout out the dads that are actually just there. Just actually present. At least trying a thing.
Yeah, man.
At least trying a thing. Because as Stu said, we're starting this podcast for people that understand that we're all, dads especially, we're all going through it. It's not spoken about enough, and we're all trying to figure it out along the way. You know, no matter how it may look from the outside, no one's perfect. Not every situation is perfect, and we're all just trying to figure out this thing called fatherhood. We're trying to juggle, trying to be successful for our family and our kids, but at the same time, be there for them emotionally, how they need, you know, and dealing with all the other pressures that come. Do you see what I'm saying? So.
You have to.
You know, it's actually just there.
Absolutely, man. it's such a big responsibility. And, you know, and if there are any fathers or, you know, soon to be fathers, you know, veteran fathers even, right, that are listening to this, honestly, step up to the plate. You know, there's so much that you can instill in your child. It doesn't matter if you're being told by, you know, your ex-partner or other people around you that you're worthless and all the rest of it. Do your bit. I think it's really important for you to just do your bit before you look at what everyone else is doing and before you look at what everyone else is saying. You know, it's really important that you look at what you've created. Yeah, that child is there alone. You know, a child is there alone, and then they're nurtured by the mum, family members, and so on. But at the very least, do your bit. You know, speak to the child, teach them things, listen. You know, learn things from them as well. You know, and you know, if the unfortunate thing happens where, you know, you and your, and again, I'm not speaking from a man, or I'm not speaking from a place of experience, but if there is a breakdown in the relationship, I would like to think, you know, after you've taken some time out to think about what the next steps are, you do carve out some time to say, right, this is my job as well. You know, I've got someone out there I've got something out there who's living, right, and I need to make sure I raise them in the right way. You know,
it doesn't even matter what age, though.
It doesn't matter what age. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what age. I think, you know, I think there has to be. I think it's high time that people do take a bit more accountability now and say, do you know what, me and the mum are not getting along, but I'm 100% going to be there for that child who's gonna turn into an adult and have their own questions to ask at some point. You know,
and I think
take some accountability.
I think 100%. You're spot on, and I think dads, all of us need to understand that if a situation like that happens where you break up with a mum, shit's not going right between you and her, and she's, for whatever reason, you've worked out that you can only see the kid once a week or once every 2 weeks. Yeah. That's not the end of the world. There's dads that are killing it seeing their kids once every 2 weeks, because when they see that child, that time that they spent with their child is the most valuable time. It can add up for 2 weeks of someone who lives with their kids. You know what I'm saying? Because when they get that chance to be with their child, they're not taking that for granted. So whatever the situation is, I don't think there's any excuse. We all know things happen, things break down, you know, people change and situations change. But if you know, I'm not speaking to the dads who may have got into a situation with the mother of their child and the mother of their child is not letting them see the child. That's a different conversation. That's a topic for another day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you can work with the mother of your child, and if she's allowing you to see the child, then be a dad. Be that person. You know what I'm saying? There's FaceTime. There's all these things that allow us to be there without actually being in a room nowadays. You know, just because you can't live in the same household don't mean that, you know, your role as a dad has stopped. You know what I'm saying?
I think what you said has kind of stuck with me. Like, there's nothing like getting like advice from your dad. Like, you know, when you said it might be like the older cousins or the uncles. Like, say, like, I don't know, you might be going down the wrong path. Because there's times I've even spoken to you, Ryan, like, or you've spoken to me about certain things that I was doing that, say, my mum wasn't happy with. And like, it's all well and good me speaking to you and that, and that's fine. But I know as soon as I finish talking to you, I end up doing the same thing again because it's like, it's not sinking in. But I think from like a father standpoint, like if I like I'm saying, if my dad was there and he kind of guided me in the right direction, if he was always there, or even like the once a week thing, even if he was doing that and he found out I was doing this, maybe even hearing it from him, it would have been like, all right, cool, like let me kind of slow down. But when you hear it from other people, it's not the same. And it's not just you, obviously, that's spoken to me. A lot of people have, and I haven't listened. And obviously, those who can't hear must feel. And I definitely felt.
You know what is? So you think people are just giving you the party line, innit? You think people are just giving you that line that because I've had it. Oh, what's going on? Right? You're like, come on, like, you know, your mum's not happy. Like, like for me, I think I remember when I had that conversation with you, and from the bottom of my heart, I broke it down to you as if I was your older brother, like. Because for me, I am to a certain extent. Do you know what I'm saying? And I broke it down from that. But I can see where you're coming from, because if you're hearing it from all different angles, it just feels like, oh, yeah, cool. My mum's talking about me again. yeah, she told you to come and chat to me. Okay, yeah, I'm listening. But you're not, yeah, I'm not really listening because I've been there as well. Do you know what I'm saying? I've been there as well. And it's like, I know you care. I'm not disrespecting you. But sometimes you feel, especially when you're at a certain age, you feel like no one understands what you're going through but you.
But yeah, you won.
Yeah. And what you fail to realize is that the elders have lived it. They've done it. The people, everyone that's talking to you has done it. They're not talking from a preaching point of view. They're talking because they've done the shit as well. You know what I'm saying? They've been there. They've worn the t-shirt and they're just saying, we know where this ends. But, you know, you're right. There's nothing like your own father having that word with you, because I think it shows that this is someone who I can say really cares. Like, that's my dad, innit? At the end of the day, no one takes that role at the end of the day. So
my dad puts it as a university of life. So he likes the way he's always spoke to me about it is like what you learn outside for work, you know, uni, college, whatever. That's fine, but use this home here as like a university of life. And you know, I feel like even up to this day now, I still get told things from my dad, and it's like mind blowing. You know, I'm thinking, well, why don't I? Sometimes it might even just be a simple message, but the way he spins it, the way he like explains it to me, it goes a long way. In that, it's wisdom.
That wisdom.
No, it's wisdom, and it just makes me. It instantly adds to my arsenal of things to do. You know, absolutely. So it's too key. It's too key.
My dad definitely has his one-liners, boy. I'm telling you. You know them.
He does.
You know them Jamaican one-liners, yeah. Yeah, man. A silent river and I run deep, and you know them one that make you think, huh? What does that mean? What does that mean? You know, as you think of that.
When the penny drops though. The penny drops.
Yeah, it does.
The penny drops at some point. You're like, all right. Okay. And they do it for a reason. That's what I mean. They do it for a reason.
No, definitely. Even some of the sayings I've heard. That one, if you can't hear, you must feel. I've definitely felt.
That's getting run down, bro. Them lines should be trademarked, bro. I'm telling you, they're getting run all till now in my household. You know what I'm saying? You know when your kids are listening to music.
I know your kids are for it. I know.
Yeah,
that.
come on.
I've laughed. I laugh all the time.
You know when your kids are listening to music. Yeah, you know the funniest one. When your kids are listening to music and they're singing along with the song. And you're like, but do you know your book like that though? You know that's a classic one. Do you know your book?
I hate that line.
Go and open up your book.
I hated that line, man. Because it's not the same. Like
it's not the same.
You're not going to learn a book like that. You're just not. Like, don't give me that lyric, bro. But it makes sense. Like, do you know what I mean? It makes sense now. When you go, you're like, I see why. It doesn't. It makes a lot of sense, man.
So, Nose,
yes, sir.
You know, do you think with your dad being absent, that it will affect you in the future when you're eventually a father? You know, what things will you make sure that you do differently, apart from the obvious from just being there? But what other things will you do as a father?
I think definitely giving my time, man. You know, when you're like you said, not just being there, but actually giving time, like spending time with my kids and also my partner as well. You know what I mean? Like it's just in a way, I don't fault my dad for. I mean, I fault him for not being there, but it's like I now know what I have to do as a father, roughly. Do you know what I mean? And also like looking at what not to do and what, like, you know what I mean, kind of reverse that and say, okay, if he wasn't there, let me do the things that I would have wanted to do with my dad with my kids. Do you know what I mean? And try and like, just try and do things like that. Really.
Do you think it'll be important for you to have him in your life when fatherhood comes around to you? So when it goes full circle now,
yeah. No, that would be ideal. Actually, I say that. I mean, like he hasn't been in my life, so
it's a sticky one.
I was about to say. I mean, it would be ideal if he was like kind of in and out, but he hasn't been there at all. So could you really say he knows about raising a son?
I think you would have to cement a relationship with him first. Cement something with him first before, because anything he comes to you now and says, you're not just going to be lapping up. You're not going to be lapping up.
It's void.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you how to do. You're going to be looking at him like, bro, where have you been all this time?
Nothing, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Naturally, you're going to be like that.
100%.
So before your child comes, he's going to have to do making up as a father for you first. You know what I'm saying? Before you can even jump on the grandfather train.
Yeah. It's mad though. It's mad. Like, even you say grandfather, like that, like, because I've known my granddad, or like, you know, obviously passed last year, obviously RIP granddad, but like,
for sure,
my kids won't know, like, oh, who's like your like, they're just not gonna know. Do you know what I mean? They'll know their grandma, and like, you know what I mean? My mum will very much be a part of their lives. But it's like, oh, like, you don't know your grandfather. That's just, it's mad to think about, like, because you know what I mean? Like, I'll say it to some of my friends. I know they don't know their grandparents because they passed or whatever, or they went in their lives. But it's mad, like, you don't really deep into that. It's gonna happen to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, my kids aren't gonna know their grandfather. That's mad to think about. It's a thought. Like, it's mad. Like, and you got to think, like, my niece and nephews, they know their great grandmother. Do you know what I mean? They know their nan. They know their grandfathers. So, do you know what I mean? So it's crazy to think about, isn't it? And you don't really think about it, like I said, until it happens to you.
So Noah, any closing thoughts for the episode?
Firstly, it's been a good talk, 100%. I think it's like any uncertainties I had about, like before coming on here, about whether I should kind of get in touch with my dad now. I think I'm kind of at a position where I can kind of make up my mind. You know, along with, you know, obviously I'll take time with it. I'm not going to do it tomorrow, but, you know, like, it's kind of, kind of pushed me in the direction of reaching out, I'd say. And I think if you're unsure about whether you should do it, listen to the podcast first of all, and it should give you a sense of direction. I also think, if you do have uncertainties, just I think reach out. I think it's better knowing than not knowing, because you'll just be racking up ideas in your brain. So if you do have an opportunity to, like, kind of reach out to your father, and fathers, if you have a chance to reach out to your kid, do it, man. Seriously, because life is too short. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't take, like we said, for it to be a funeral or a 9-night where you're like, oh yeah, you're just hearing things about your dad. He was this, he was that, and you just didn't really get to hear it from him. So definitely, man, just reach out, father or son, just reach out, man.
And before we go, what kind of questions? I know we briefly touched on it, but what kind of questions would you have for your dad when reaching out? What are you reaching out? Are you reaching out just so you can get some clarification on?
Definitely just clarification.
Why he went there? Or are you reaching out because? Yeah, go on.
Sorry. I think it's definitely clarification, like, at this point. That's first and foremost. I think the first conversation I have, I don't think it will be about anything about, do you want to come back into my life? It's just literally just questions, Q&A. That's it. It's just a Q&A, man.
Like, grilling Q&A, right?
Literally, grilling one. You know, them ones, like, it's man. That's quick Q&A. I wouldn't even say quick, man. It's 21 years, so that's not going to be that's definitely not a 5 question thing, like.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be. You're not gonna get it done.
Notebook's coming out for that one. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. You're not gonna get it done. You need a little recorder as well, brother. All of that. Trust me. You're not gonna. You're not gonna get it done in one meeting. I think there's.
Definitely not. There's a lot to talk about. 100%.
There's a lot of emotion that will. You'll find that will come out of you as well, because it's easy us talking about it. Well, it's not easy us talking about it, because some people can't talk about these kind of things, but it's easier us talking about it here. But when you have that conversation with him, you probably start to feel some kind of emotions, and, like, it's not going to be an easy one. But if that's the step that you feel that you need to take as a man, then I feel that you're the only person that can make that decision. No one can tell you any otherwise. You know what I'm saying? You have to do it,
man. 100%. Yeah.
Cool, man. But guys, thank you, Noah, for coming on.
Man.
It's been an absolute pleasure, man. Bro. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for coming, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Like, share, and subscribe. YouTube channel, guys. Dads Divulge, and on Spotify, Dads Divulge.
Also, comment below, and comment and tell us what you want us to talk about. What other things you think we should discuss? I'm sure there's many things that people wanna hear spoken about. So give us your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, guys, we're out.
Peace.